Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Tuesday Morning Shenanigans, and we are inside Maui Comics and Collectibles. I am Aaron of the Rave Corner, and joining me is Swan, the War Chief, hashtag comics of the nerd kind.
How's it going, Aaron?
I'm good, how are you today?
Doing good. You look like a long morning. We're laughing because we just did a very funny joke before filming. But anyway, to the show.
Oh man, this is going to be great. So, today I got Swan on the show because I want to start another segment where people get to show off their collectibles. And today, Swan brought some of his prestigious collection.
I did?
Yeah. Of course.
Yes, I brought some Turtle books in. I love the Ninja Turtles as much as I love Ghost Rider. But I did bring in some other fun stuff, which is nice little sketches done. And I brought in some local comics up front.
Now, you would say that this is among your top, is it 20 pieces of your collection?
I like to say so, but you know, the Turtles will all count as one category.
Oh, you do?
I wouldn't do it to where it's like my top 20 as in my issue numbers as categories, but yes.
Ah, so I see that we got some blank covers. I'm actually new to this, so basically, the blank cover is...
Blank is like, a blank cover from when the shop opened was always a thing. It seems like it's a pretty new thing, but it's a convenient way of getting sketches and commission artwork done.
And it says easy as finding them in the store, or do you have to ask?
You can do one of two with things. You can either go to your local comic shop and ask to special order a blanket that probably isn't out yet, and you would like to reserve a copy for yourself, or you can pick up what's available for you at the store.
Oh,
because like most of these comic blanks, they start off at the first issue, and then that's it. So, for example, this Howard the Duck #1 here, done by Steve Lealoa from Maui Comic Con, is a #1. And most of the time, there's the rare case where issue 2 would have a blank, like how Exilian is issue 2, there's a blank cover for that. But most of the time that I've seen it, it was always issue 1 that has the blank cover.
Oh, I see.
But the blanks will be highly collectible in the future.
But how long has getting illustrations been a thing?
It's been a thing for quite some time. I mean, it depends on like if you go to a con with a sketchbook, or if you go with just an 11 by 17 sheet. That's a better way because it's easy to store, 1. 2, it's easy for the artist to know what character you want because it has the title right there. 3, the style of what the character looks like for reference. Or if you have a specific way, like me, I like the classic look of Howard the Duck, not his newer look.
Right.
And the artist can do it that way. And then the best one is you are going to keep it in good condition either way because it's a comic still.
And from what I gathered is that whoever wants an illustration, it's up to the customer, so it's open to interpretation?
Well, sometimes the customer will do artist discretion. So a lot of characters such as Iron Man has different forms of his armor. So there's the real classic, real shellhead looking one, and there's the newer ones where he's real dynamic, like one of those Bayformers. And if you're a guy that's not cool with the newer look, I like a classic look, the artist will be like, okay, let me look up a reference real quick, and then let me just take it some time to do it. Most times when I've seen people do art commissions, they're like, okay, it'll take about half an hour to an hour, and then just come back and pick it up then. But
half an hour to an hour?
Yeah. Just because there's a process going on. Usually if people just want a pencil sketch, they're like, I want a quick pencil sketch, they'll do that. I would like an ink and coloring, then there's a difference. And there's always price variance from headshot to bust to full figure.
And how long does the people actually wait at actual Comic-Con conventions? I mean, do they really wait for 30 minutes to an hour for an artist?
Oh, well, they just leave it there, if anything. It all depends on how the artist does it. It's like, okay, you can leave the book with me, come back a little later, and then it'll be done.
And they do have to pay commission for that as well.
Yes, so I believe they drop it off, they pay their fees, they leave, they come back to pick it up. Or if it's like, hey, I'm not in any rush to pick it up because the con's 3 days. I'll come back on the last day of the con to give you some time to do it really nicely, and here's my money for it. So then it gives the artist kind of a break because if you think about it, if an artist, say, has 6 commissions to do it, he says he does them all in an hour, he's really done it.
Normally, what is the cheapest to the
highest
commission?
Depending on the artist, I've always seen them charge more for multiple figures, but for full figures, usually the most expensive.
Okay, so the headshot must be the
Headshot is the cheapest. It always varies. Like Ron Rando does his headshot for 30. I believe Jeff Isherwood did his one for 60. And then henceforth, why the blanks are really popular is Jeff Isherwood specifically asks if they have a blank. just because it makes it easy on him. Also, it's easier on supplies. Like as an artist, there's an investment that goes into your supplies as much as your customer base that you're trying to provide the character for. But that's just based on your skill or how your art style presents. Like usually, if someone like me, I ask for jam pieces, which is collaborations with different artists, and then you just put multiple shots in. I ask just for one artist at a time.
And you got a jam piece around here?
Yes, I do have one done by Format. Format, or as we know, or as people know him by, Jason David, did a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers one. And this is where I said artist discretion is big. Because he asked me very specifically, alright, do I need to do it, as the cover says, huh? Do I need to do Power Rangers on a Power Rangers blank? You can do your version of the Power Rangers. So he took a local comic which is known as Omakua, Guardians of Hawaii, done by Chris Cavallo, and did Power Ranger forms of Omakua. So you can see here, Sister Shark is one of the Rangers, and you got Soul Hot as another one, Butchies, Man-O-War, Phantom Surfers, Super Size Soleil, Mighty Mo, with the Gecko Man.
But you say that jam pieces are normally a collaboration, but it looks like Format just did the whole
Yeah,
cover.
he did the whole cover. I actually didn't expect him to do all of it. I was just like, you can do one character, you can do two. It doesn't have to be ink because this is all pencil right here. So it's all up to you.
So what
Jam pieces can be, well, this would be
so what
considered
Swan
a
is trying
jam
to
piece.
say is that normally a common jam piece involves, let's say that I went to 5 different illustrators. I'll go to one, say, here, just draw one character. Then I'll go to the next one and have him or her draw another
Yeah.
character.
Or you have a guy that's like George
So it's
Perez.
like a collage.
Exactly, and George Perez is the king of jam pieces.
Oh, really? What
Because
does he draw?
he did a cover for DC called Crisis on Infinite Earths, and there's a cover where it's Supergirl and Superman's arms, but he has hundreds of characters behind it. Like he pretty much put almost every character from DC in that whole cover in the background, and that's a real big jam.
And you say that that's what makes him the king of jam pieces.
Yeah, because he's really done it. And then there's other things like lithographs he's done, where he doesn't just do a character; he does every version of that character.
Wow, so it's like watching the evolution.
Yeah, because
so to speak.
my favorite one is the Avengers one because he'll do Wasp, and then he'll start off with the first one of the Wasp to her newest form.
Nice,
Mhm.
nice.
And then I also have some more sketches. One's done by another local artist, DJ Kiavikane, on his book Exilion, and it's his character
Oh,
cutting off an orc's head.
just a random work.
Just random work. I asked, because when I met him at AmazingCon. Most of the Hawaiian Comic Book Alliance people I met were from AmazingCon. And
You're-
his art style is so nice.
You're not able to see this up close, but this is actually
Issue
pen.
2. Yeah.
It's colored in by pen, yet
This is, all Copic markers, and like it's hard because
It
he
is.
covers up his pencil marks really well.
Yeah, I was about to say that it is done so
It's
well.
really well polished, yes.
Compared to, I can't control the pen strokes that I have, so you can obviously tell the lines, but these are pretty well blended.
Yes, and this is character Brain Starbolt.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because all I ask is like, I just want your character cutting off the head of an orc. Or I didn't expect it to come out this, like him to do the head cutting off from so close. I thought he was gonna do a very far away shot. This was awesome. And some blanks go all around. This one doesn't. It actually goes straight to the back.
Cool. Now, before the camera started rolling, Swan said that all of the pieces on the table has some sentimental value because it has a story behind it. Now, my question for this one is, how long did it take for you to get the cover back?
A day.
One whole day?
I just went up to DJ and actually he walked up to the Maui Comics booth at AmazingCon and he pretty much asked if I was interested in one, and I was like, yes, I like your character cutting off the head of an orc or stabbing an orc, do something to an orc. And it's kind of messed up because in D&D I play an orc, so it's kind of like I want you to kill me in a way.
Right.
Not literally, no. But I pretty much paid him up front, and then the next day he came back with the cover. I told him, take your time. I'm a very patient person.
Oh, that you are.
Yeah, I'm the type of guy, I won't ever rush you on a drawing. Because being a guy who draws himself, it sucks when someone rushes you.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, okay, I'll be back in 5 minutes. Can you get that done?
That's
I want
impossible.
I want Deadpool riding a pony as he's shooting people. I'm just,
Oh, the details.
okay.
You get it back in stick figure form.
Yeah, I joked with somebody about that. I was like, I'll give it back in stick figures. And they're just like, what? I was like, no, I'm just kidding. I would need more than 5 minutes to do that, though. And they're like, okay, 10 minutes? No, not 10 minutes. Also, to clarify the word of sentimental in this case, it's very subjective, as we were saying off camera. And everything isn't sentimental to where I would like to resell it for its sentimental value to give it an upgrade in price. That doesn't happen. Actually, what I mean by it is the story behind a collector and his collection means a lot more to me than what's in his collection. For example, just to grab a book and say, you know, I got this in a trade, and the trade was with a good friend of mine, this and that. It's really cool. For example, also, I'll just pick this one up, and the memories that come to it is really good, because this is from Maui Comic Con, and this is one of, like, this is the way I remember Maui Con. And it's a Howard the Duck sketch by Steve Leila, who worked on Howard the Duck.
Right off the bat, I like how he's holding the lit cigar and it's, you know, smoking off. And
Oh yeah, like this is the classical Howard the Duck look though, and this is where it brings a story to me. And the meaning behind this is I got to experience Maui Comic Con with all my friends. More importantly, I got to experience with my friends a Comic Con, something that I never thought would happen. It's kind of like a wish come true moment for me.
Oh.
And that's where the big memory comes behind this. Like, being a collector, I collect, and then it's the story behind the book I like to remember more than what book is in my collection.
Well, at the con, you said you worked as an illustrator, was it?
Oh yeah, I was doing actually, that was my first time as an artist, as it was your first time being a vendor. And I believe both of us had a lot of mixed emotions go through our heads at the time.
Well, before the event, I will admit I didn't get a lot of sleep because a lot of things were going through my mind.
You're excited, yet you're skeptical.
I was more like scared, to be honest with you. It's the first time I ever been a vendor. It's totally different than being a customer approaching all the different tables. Now you have to be a lot more, how do I say this? You have
You're
to
not
be
a
more
carnival.
focused.
Yeah, you're not a carnival worker per se, but you gotta like realize, okay, this is on my table, this is for sale.
Yeah, it's
A lot of
like
guys
you
walking
have
up
to think of not as a customer perspective. Well, you do, but you have to be more concerned about business. But yeah, a whole lot of anxiety, a whole lot of fears coming in. But honestly, it was the best time of my life. Met a lot of cool people. You made my day when you brought. He actually went over and brought me a miniature figure of Weezing of Pokemon. So that was like the best piece that I actually got from the event.
And to grant this a little bit more sincerity from me as a gift, it was because I kept hearing about you through our time playing Pokemon Go.
We did an episode on Pokemon Go, and I
And
talked
you're
about
just-
Weezing being my favorite.
And you loved Weezing so much. I was like, okay. And to make it better, though, there was only one Weezing on the table because second forms out of that whole assorted pack were one-ofs.
Oh.
So to get that for you was actually like a big deal for me because I'm not gonna lie, somebody wanted it, I'm like, nope, I'll take it. It's not that I stole it from some kid or anything, it's just, it was our little Jawa friend that just wanted all the figures to himself.
That fiend!
Yeah. But, yeah, everything is like the deep memory behind it, and it's what makes it, this collection to me, feel like it's worth millions of dollars.
Now, what was it like on your end, being an illustrator? How many people you had visit your table?
A lot, and everyone's like, hey, how's your art style? It's like, I draw things. Hi.
You just
Hi.
tried.
I know, I was at a loss of words. No, because I was at a loss of words because I just sit there, I'm like,
Then again, when you're
whoa, I was more like, no one's going to want to come and see me. There's all these other guys over here, they're so cool. And then, sure enough, I realized where I was placed was at the Modern Comics booth, and that was next to the VIP area. So,
so
there
it
was
came up to you.
attention walking past,
Yeah.
and I was just drawing, and then they're like, what are you drawing there? I'm just like, oh, I'm drawing Howard the Duck. They're like, is that for somebody? Yeah. Like, can you draw me something? I'm just, sure. What would you like? And then everyone's just like, oh, you're here. And they're just, wow, that's a good location for you. I was like, I
Oh,
realized
you're
that
here.
very late. Well, because most of the artists from Artist Alley,
Yes.
I was the artist that wasn't.
Mhm.
And to be out of Artist Alley and then just to see everyone's like, oh, you're really well placed by the VIP area. Do a lot of people come and inquire? I'm just, you have no idea. Like, it was cool. Most people will walk up to me and they'll be like, I just want the blank. I'm like, okay, I can tell you the blank itself. Or like, I want you to draw something that's a little, like a Deadpool. Like, one kid was funny though. The oddest one I got asked to do was a Grumpy Cat.
A grumpy cat.
Yeah.
Just a random.
Oh, the mean Grumpy Cat.
Oh.
Because Grumpy Cat and Pokey actually became a comic series.
Pokey and Grumpy Cat.
Yeah, it's about two cats that go on adventures. So
Okay.
Grumpy Cat, so Pokey is the positive side to where Grumpy Cat's the negative side.
Okay. And this
'Cause
is
you
a
know,
local
like-
thing.
Oh no, it's actually an IDW publishing, but it was
Oh.
just so hilarious to see that there's a blank for this.
Hmm.
And then I laughed. I was like, I paid $10 for that blank. It's really cool because then it was called the Design Your Own Meme blank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the weird one for me. But was there anything else you wanted to inquire about here?
Yeah, you said you had some local comics up front.
Yeah, I actually do. I have Makua, Guardians of Playa by Chris Cavallo. And this was an interesting book to me off the bat because this came into Molly Comics and I was just like, $6, that's a steal, I'll take it. And then I read it and I was just, okay, where's that second issue? This is such a good issue.
Wait, you said at the time you got it, it's $6. Have they gone up in value or?
Well, to me, it was just like, I'd never seen these around and we only had so many of them. So just to have like a certain amount of copies in the store, I was like, I want this and I'll read it. Then it's all about how the Royal Hawaiian Guardian finds these heroes and brings them together to be a team.
It kind of reminds me of Sam Jackson. Bringing together whichever you want. He could either be like Nick Fury bringing the Avengers, or he could
It actually has a very Avengers way.
Okay.
This issue is actually a very comedic version, and when I talked to Chris, he actually wanted to do this as a one-shot, a one-and-done thing. Then people liked the book to where it became an ongoing series.
Oh.
Now, most of the Hawaiian Comic Alliance, their printings are annually, which means once a year their books come out. So it's a book a year.
Now why does it take it that long?
Well, because it's self-independent publishing. Most of them do have jobs. Like Chris is actually a cop. And,
oh, right.
You know, that's the coolest combination I ever had. A cop that's a comic reader.
So you're saying that they do everything on their own, from the
yes, from the penciling, the inking, the writing,
the publishing,
yes,
and then
the
actually
layouts.
manufacturing their own.
They actually go
issues.
through a certain comic printing.
So it's different than a team that already establishes.
Yes, it's different from what Marvel and DC and the IDW and Image wants to do. For example, there is a weekly, so once a week, bi-weekly, or so often, monthly, bi-monthly, and then the annuals. The annuals is just because they do Kickstarters for these, just to get the funds for it. And then when the funds are done, they usually do something special for all the backers, and then you get your copy priority to when it goes on sale. But to see a book like this and never hear about comics that were actually made in Hawaii, I found it inspirational in a way of a guy who wants to read comics.
I don't see a number. What issue is this?
This is issue 1. Yeah, there's no number on this one because, like I said, it was supposed to be a one-shot. So I believe they didn't put an actual ongoing number on this. Maybe in later printings they may.
But the second one has come out?
The second one actually did come out, and you know, it actually does a lot with the overthrow of Hawaii. Now, issue 2 is like a real historical throwback into where like there's this team of villains that came together to help overthrow Hawaii at the time because it talks about the Committee of Safety and all this. Whoa.
And so the second issue is the most current one at this point.
No, 3 should be coming out. Actually, 3 came out. 4 should be coming out after the double feature. Now they do 2-in-1s, where you get to hear a backstory of these characters and get to know them a little easy, and you can just start picking and choosing who's your favorite a lot better.
Oh.
Yeah, so they do origin stories too for these. And it's hilarious because there's 3 different Chris's that worked on this book. Cavallo, Roman, and then Puanui. And if you guys are looking on Kickstarter, I don't know if his campaign's still going on, check out Chris Puanui's book called Night Marcher, another local independent comic coming out.
Nice.
Please show your support for some local guys. Also check out The Unseen #2, done by Brian Lavelle of Enjoy Comics. And it's really funny though, because when you talk about it, because Mighty Monk is kind of like a bully kind of character. Then you have like the Portuguese man over, and his character story is, you know how there's always, we live in Hawaii, so the Portuguese jokes are pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the jokes go with the Portuguese aren't that smart.
Yeah.
This one he's like the Iron Man of the group. And
But
then
is
you
he
have-
smart?
He is smart.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the whole point of it. And then the Phantom Surfer here is a real mysterious character that no one really knows about. In the next double feature, you'll actually get to find out his origin story and who he is. I actually spoiled it for myself because I guessed who it was and I got it right.
Oh wow.
Well, in an interview with Chris, and I didn't expect me to get the answer right the first time. I was like, "Oh, it's the ghost of this surfer." And they're like, "Yep." I'm like, "Crap." No,
I was just joking, but it was
I want to be
real.
wrong. I want to be wrong. And now,
Yeah.
and then I have 2 other books done by John J. Murakami. Again, I met these guys at Amazing Con and get to see them again at MollyCon, and these are all done by
Hot
him.
Angels.
Yep, Hot Out Angels and then Gordon Ryder, the world's worst Power Ranger team in Kamen Rider.
Well,
Now-
I did.
Now you can tell off the bat, because I know Gordon Ryder caught your attention more, that he has regular rubber gloves,
Yeah. He
no
doesn't have-
super suits or anything. He has straws on his helmet,
Oh, those are straws.
and he has swimming goggles on, with GR taped on a piece of filter paper to his front of his shirt.
Dude, sure. Is that TP on his neck?
Well, I'll leave that up to interpretation, but that is a safety jacket.
That's the same. Oh no, it looks like
Like
one
the
of those
road-
fluorescent vests.
Yeah.
Oh, and what makes this so like the worst Sentai?
Well, the whole point is they're so terrible they actually do good.
Really? So it's like
So it's accidental.
so it's like a flute Mr.
Yeah.
Satan in DBZ?
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Alright.
It's like they're so bad they're good.
Huh.
But however, this is not
At
an
least they
issue
got a
one.
robot.
Yeah, the mecha doesn't do good. But this is actually issue 2 of Gordon Rider. I don't have an issue 1 because those are all short prints. And for those who don't know, short print is a way of saying there's a limited amount of copies to be made on that issue.
What was the cap amount on issue 1?
See, that's how hard it was because this got established a long time ago. These aren't the only issues, but I do search for Gordon Rider #1 because I want to collect them all and then read the whole story. Although I know the look on your face, you're gonna ask if I collect 2 of everything, and I kind of do, just to preserve one and then read the other one.
But because it says issue number 2, that means like he's been doing that means
This for a
series
while.
for 2 years.
Oh yeah. Oh, actually, there's a lot more than 2 issues and 1 issue of this.
Oh.
These are not annual league. He actually has quite a bit of them. I think Gordon Rider's on issue 9, and so is the Auto Rangers. But I do search for all these books. Like you look at it, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Also, if you guys don't know who John Murakami is, you might know his greeting cards, local kind. They're all the local greeting cards you can see at the Long's Drugs, the Safeway, or Walmart.
Yeah, I
So
see
the
them
real
all.
local goof comedic ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now he has an Instagram, check him out at John J. Murakami. He does daily cartoon characters where he picks a song and a cartoon character.
Come to think of it, I see more of the greeting cards in this drawing.
Then here, yeah. I think this is more of his other work, but this is actually one of his most known.
For some reason, the bubble looks like one of those plastic.
It is. Yeah, you're answering all the questions.
The ones that I get toys off of vending machines.
Then here we're moving down to Kipaku Kai done by Rusty Bailey.
Wow, first issue.
Yeah, and this one's kind of like, this is on issue 2 right now, and this one's kind of a homage cover to Submariner #1. It's about a guy who comes on vacation with his family, then he goes to sleep, he wakes up the next morning, he's this real weird looking creature, and this fish named Glenn helps him going back to trying to get back to his human form.
He wants to be back in his human form?
He wants to get back to being human. He thought he could walk on land and his wife would accept him like this.
Oh, it never works out.
Yeah. And then Glenn is kind of like his conscience, his Jiminy Cricket, if you will, and tells him, like, I don't think you should walk onto a beach with a bunch of tourists. They may think you're a monster. He's like, I'm not a monster, I'm a man. You look that way. And then he goes on this kind of mythology-based journey of how to get to human form.
Now, I see features of a giraffe and...
I guess it's supposed to be a seahorse, actually.
Oh.
But I can see the pattern. You would think giraffe.
Right.
That is a thing, too. But it also has forms of a man and an octopus. Yeah, I actually like the creature's form. The book itself is really whimsical.
Huh.
And the underwater art is amazing.
How many issues is there?
There's 2 out right now. So they're
There's
working
2?
issue 3, yes.
Oh, okay.
Then we got Native Sons by Mark Gould.
Oh.
This art style is really great. Mark's one of the best left-handed artists I've ever seen, and he's a really cool guy. As you can see, telling from the title, he has like a little Maori look, a taiaha, and then there's the AK-47 pointing at him. This book I will not talk about because I read it. If I say something about it, it will actually spoil it for you.
Oh, okay.
This is the one book I've managed to spoil for 2 people already.
2 people.
Because I actually really do like this book a lot. I like all the local comics, and I'm trying to not give too much spoilers on them. That way everyone can come down and read a copy for themselves.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Well, you've been on a pretty good roll up to so far.
Well, yeah, and then this one's Pineapple Man. Pineapple Man is one of the older local comics. However, it's one that I never knew about. And this came out in the late 90s, and it's a short print. This is issue 3. 1 and 2 are hard to find. But issue 2 goes for $800 right now.
Why is
And
it
that's
worth so
cool.
much?
Like I said, they're short prints, so
Oh.
they're only from limited amounts. Not even Sam has a 1 and 2. He only has 3 and 4s. And I also met Sam at Amazing Con, and he was at Maui Comic Con as well. And to meet him, it was a really interesting character. And where his character comes from is a guy who goes to a life of crime that ends up getting him killed. But when they kill him, they cast him upon a heiau, and he becomes reborn into this hero. Yes, I know the term Pineapple Man sounds a little bit funny. A lot of guys used to scoff at the title. They're like, "Good, we need more local heroes. We got Omakua, but we had Pineapple Man." And the reason why Pineapple Man isn't really well. It's found kind of funny is the word pineapple is actually from the racist term used to describe Hawaiians because pineapples come from Africa. They're not from here. So it's kind of a way of calling someone the N-word that's Hawaiian.
Huh.
But what Sam did was he took this racist term and turned it into a more positive light for kids in the future as well as adults to giving them a hero.
So you're saying that this sort of
It's to take the negative and turn it into a positive.
no, well, going back to the negative side, it's meant to describe locals of what?
Yeah, it's well, Hawaiians more specifically, they'll call them pineapple. It's kind of a way of calling someone subliminally the N-word. Because I got called a pineapple one day and was like, huh. I had to walk up and ask the teacher, I was like, why are they calling me pineapple? And they're like, who called you pineapple? Oh, Timmy in class. Like, okay, whoa, you guys are second graders. Who learned the term pineapple? And then like, that's a bad word to use, especially if you're going to call a white person that. Then I went home and my dad would say that's what they used to call them in the Marines. It's another way of calling them the N-word.
Oh.
So it was a racist term, but I do like the fact that he took this racist term, gave us a superhero out of it. Now I find it a more positive way to say pineapple man.
So this hero definitely owns up to it.
Oh yeah, he's a real cool hero. I mean, you can see the nunchucks he has his little
really hand-to-hand combat, but he
Yes,
does
yeah.
have hand grenades.
Yeah.
Hey, close range
Well, I'm
walkers.
just glad they're hand grenades, and I always told Sam, like, does anyone ever joked about you and say about the Pineapple Pen song? He goes, dude, I use that to help Pineapple when I get out there.
Really? Huh.
Here we also have another local comic called Dwarf Star Chronicles. This is done by Chris Loma. And this one is actually very D&D-esque. And it always talks about how there's a Dwarf Star and there's Chronicles. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys. So if you guys want to, contact Chris Loma and get yourselves a copy. I highly recommend all these books. It's a real fun read. And I like his art style. It's really nice.
Yeah. I'm just admiring the details over here because it looks very clean. The rest looks like illustration. Not that I'm complaining, but I don't know why it's just so captivating.
It is, right? This one caught my eye also when I was at Amazing Con.
So it looks like it's matching a lot of the fantasy sort of elements together. Like this looks like the rabbit from
Alice in Wonderland, and then it has like some old school space themes too.
Yes. Who does this guy represent?
This guy? This guy is a character.
All right.
How about this, Aaron? Since you're so captivated by it, I'll allow you to read this book after the show, and then do a review on it.
A review?
Or a little bit of a conversation with me.
I guess.
See, look, I'm getting people already. I got him into local comics. I'm just trying to get you into that. See,
Subliminal.
yes. Another one's a fun title. This book I spent years trying to find, and I found it in like 2009 or 10, somewhere around there. And it was called Island Tales. I'm sorry, it was 2011. And this is when I first started school as a point study student, and I was just checking out random things on Facebook. And then I came across this, and I was like, oh, cool, there's comics. Let me go and find them. Never found it. Then I found out these are short print books, and they're also done by DJ Calvicani on the art. And it's talking about a fictitious guy who was a warrior who loved a woman, and pretty much these guys, this man who was jealous of him was supposed to be with her. She didn't love him. So what happens is he gets sent off to be killed by an entire army, and she dies. And he comes back and he pretty much kills everyone who hurt her, and he eats them. And eating someone is a form of taking their power from them. It's like it plays into the role of mama a little bit. This was a book that I was really happy to get from. Island Tales, their favorite story was the one about Nana Ue. They're still on Facebook. You can look up their Facebook page to get all the pages. Like they put all the pages, panels, and the drawings. They have really nice artwork on there.
Oh, he really is of gigantic proportion. That's his actual size in the story.
Well, you know, he's kind of like around 6 feet, 6 something.
Okay.
But yeah, this is the size of him. Then next we have Be Killed the Dead by Brian Revell. As you already can see, this is print number 314 out of 5,000. So it's a lower number in the print run.
Are we still in local comic territory?
Yes. This
Okay.
is also, there's a lot of them.
Wow.
You
The
have a look-
production is so well. It made me
You have
think
a
it's
look
like
on
a
it.
regular printed issue. You know, like the
Oh.
regular printing quality as these.
We can edit that out. All right. So, this book is about a team of highly trained soldiers coming together to fight the dead.
Oh.
But what's fun about this book is Ryan Ravel is such a horror fan. He puts a bunch of indie characters in here.
I do see references to a Puppet Master right off the bat.
Well, this isn't from the Puppet Master, but I can tell you there's other characters like BBK from Gutterballs. It's an independent horror film. And there's more characters in this. This is what really got me to read the book. And you also put like a little description right. If you want to see how this guy came here, watch this movie. If you want to see this guy's story, watch this movie. And it ties it back to where he helps push the indie horror movies just as much as the comic it gets to push itself. Like, when I brought this back from Amazing Con, I was like, hey, Friday Night Fright guys, we got to do an episode on this. And it was really cool because they all take the comics and now they're trying to get into the Unseen, which is also on Kickstarter, as I mentioned earlier. But you look so astounded right now.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say. We Kill the Dead. You got the thing on the top half of the cover. I'm always immediately drawn to that character. The way he has his hands positioned, it made me think of Puppet Master.
It makes you think of something
Yeah.
right off the bat.
Something very like an evil force manipulating something.
Like me, I had to ask if it was Evil Ernie for a second, then I looked at it and I was like, that's not Evil Ernie.
You are.
Then we have our, well, I like to say not the final one, but we have Journey of Heroes by Stacy Hayashi, and this is done for the 442nd Regimental Combat Team. Now, Aaron, please give a little history on that.
So 442nd means the infantry 442, basically. But it was a time when Japanese Americans wanted to prove themselves to the United States because at the time, after the bombing of Pearl Harbor,
they were going through some hard times.
yeah,
right?
all Japanese American citizens were not trusted. Instead, they were taken from their homes and moved into.
They were called war criminals for a long time too.
Oh yeah, and they were moved to the what do you call them? Well, they were moved into camps basically, just so they could be kept in order. I
They
guess.
monitored, yeah.
Yeah. So, what in order for them
Could
to
you
prove
imagine being
themselves,
one of those citizens going through that?
it must have been.
It must have
terrible.
been. It would have been more terrible if you're a child though, because, or just anybody.
You're just so confused. But
Because as a child, you're like, what's going on? Why are they treating me different?
but
But
to
as an adult, just to understand that situation could be even worse.
yeah, and so to prove their loyalty to the United States and say, look, man, we're Americans. We're not who you think we are.
We're gonna go for broke.
Back in the day, there weren't any TV, so to entertain people, they would play millimeter films, and they would have these short segments where they just show highlights, clips of things, and the narrator narrates what they're seeing as the reel keeps playing. So they would do short reels of the American military just to keep people updated of what's currently happening during the war, and their slogan at the end, just to bring up a very positive message to the viewers who are or are not soldiers, is that they would say, hey, go for broke. We're gonna go for it all.
And you know, this actually has a lot of history behind it, and it's a part of Hawaii's history. It's something that you can't simply forget.
Oh yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
and this is so cool because if you look at the art style here, it's illustrated by Damien Wong, and it's very chibi-ish. This is a book meant for kids too.
I did notice that there are some drawings of little children.
There's a lot of Daniel Inouye references in here too. In fact, Stacy knows some of the Nisei soldiers, and she got to talk to them for the book.
Is she related, or is it more like a close family
I believe
friend?
she is related to some of them, but she's also in progress of the movie Go for Broke, which is being filmed, which just wrapped filming, and I believe they're trying to do a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe. Please go and check them out to get the production work done. I really push this book the hardest out of all of it because it hits the heart a lot.
Oh yeah,
especially when it's historical here.
Yeah. I mean, Japanese culture is deep within Hawaii, so if I were to
Exactly, and likewise to Japan, I believe.
yeah, and I have a lot of friends who are Japanese, so to think of what they would have to go through if this happened in our modern times, it'd be tough, man.
Oh yeah. And it's an inspirational story though. When you read it, like this is the one book where if someone's like, give me a spoiler, I just told them, ask me for a spoiler and I'll slap you. Like it's I
it's
really
in the
feel
history books.
yeah, I really feel that if you're a child and you want to learn about this, read that book and you'll learn and then some. Like you will take a lot away from the book.
And let's well, sorry, I'm gonna go on a tangent here, but moving on, I noticed that you brought a very vintage issue in your collection.
I believe this is what we're talking about.
Yeah, I call it vintage. When did this come out actually?
Well, it's a 20 cent cover. I want to say like the 70s, 80s or
70s, 80s. I
late
call it
70s.
vintage. Sorry.
No, it's okay. But this is a book that's funny though, because it kind of, I hate the fact when people will try to say you're a guy who settles for less on the greater condition, and I kind of disagree with it, because I like to say, at least when I buy a low grade comic, because I always go for the low grade, or at least a mid grade, if I'm being ambitious. But I go for the low grade, that way it's in my collection. Somewhere down the line, if I do get a higher grade, I can upgrade and then probably trade this one in. But this one has a good story to me too, because a good friend of the shop just came up to me. He's like, "Hey, I heard how much you love Ghost Rider," and he's like, "Here." He goes, "Okay, what do you want for it?" "Nothing. It's yours."
And Mylar and everything?
Not a Mylar and a bagging board. I put the Mylar on myself.
Okay.
But just for him to give me an issue I didn't have with the character I really liked, even if it's, I will say there's some condition issues here.
I mean, it makes sense because it's for people who are new to this. It's good to have baby steps. So in this case, although it's not in the most desired condition, at the same time, you can do it for the sake of owning a piece of history. You're actually essentially preserving it.
Yes.
And despite the wear and tear that is seen on the
Sometimes
cover,
the low grades are all that's left.
yeah, sometimes the low grades are all that's
And
left,
sometimes
and
they're the ones that
it's-
go first. Like, it's legit fact. I accept the fact that throughout years and years later, comics do disappear and they do get damaged, thrown to the dump,
Yes.
recycled. A kid gets his hands on it and rips it up.
And
Like, they go through a lot of abuse, like, over the year, especially if they start off, say, like, a 5,000 credit limit. And enough time comes over and there's, like, say, 1,000 that's in good condition. That's a drop. And just to say I have one of that is even better.
It's sometimes when somebody owns a really good chunk of collection and that person happens to be single with no immediate line of family, well,
It sometimes just goes out to a sale.
yeah, sometimes it just goes out to a sale, or it's handed down to a relative who has no idea what he or she has, and they'll just be like, toss it.
Or they'll be like, yeah, let's just garage sale it off.
Yeah.
And this takes me back towards sentimental value. Like, I value this as a high grade book as much as it is a low grade, just because the story behind it is great. Like I said, I have more attachment to these because there's a story when I own the comics.
And to be honest, despite the wear and tear, it does look great in the Mylar.
It presents
sleeve and
well in a
everything.
Mylar. Like, everybody thinks that low grade comics don't present well. You put it in a Mylar, you give it a nice little dress up, it presents pretty well.
I like it.
Yeah, thank you.
It looks
Like,
beautiful.
But my top two characters I've ever chose, my favorite hero team is the Ninja Turtles. My favorite solo character is Ghost Rider. So just to even have a person who thought about me enough to say, this is a gift for you. And it's, wow, I got this 2 years ago on Black Friday. Like a time where I was just working at GameStop and then my comics, Alika just calls me just like, hey, come down to the store when you can. And I just came and I was like, what? This is,
That was so cool.
yeah,
man.
it was a gift. It was a really true gift, and I do appreciate it a lot.
And you say that you like you like the turtles, the Ninja Turtles. But so
Yes.
I'm wondering, what is your favorite character?
It would be Raphael, just because as a kid, everyone would make fun of Raphael. Like, Donatello was the one they made fun of the most, because to a kid, when you look at him, it's like, whoa, Leonardo's got these two huge swords, that's cool. Then you look at it, it's like, oh, this guy has a stick. Well, yeah, not as bad as that guy. He has two pointy little metal things. Or how about that other guy? He has a chain that attached to two different sticks. to make
Okay,
four
now this is getting ridiculous.
Like,
I never thought that Raphael had gimpy or horrible weaponry. I mean, it worked. I mean, it's different parts of martial arts coming together as one. But the only thing I didn't like about Raphael
Was his
was his
attitude?
attitude, yeah.
I know you watched the 1990s movie.
I did.
But my favorite thing about the Turtles, though, for sure, is they're a parody of Daredevil. Because every Daredevil had red, they had the red headbands. They had a lot of Frank Millerisms and Kirbyisms in their books.
Kirbyisms.
Like, I just like to call it Kirbyisms. And they also had the foot. In Daredevil, they had the hand. And Turtles, they had stick. Splinter, Daredevil, they had stick.
Stick.
So it kind of worked hand in hand.
Now, who's Stick? It's not
Stick
an
was like the
project, is it?
no. Stick isn't a literal
I-
stick that Daredevil had. It's Daredevil's teacher. His name was Stick because he was blind. So you walked with a walking stick, but you could fight with it really well.
His mentor was also blind.
Yes.
Oh, I'm learning
Because-
this for the first time.
Yeah. And when you learn from Blind Mentor, it taught him to be who Daredevil is now.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
Like a fun one to talk about. This is the Raphael. This is the first printing, and this is also the first appearance of Casey Jones. Casey Jones is a fun character for me to talk about as a supporting character to the Turtles.
Oh, so it's $150, huh? Back in the day.
Oh yeah, they were pricey. And it's hilarious though because I watched Turtle Power, the definitive history on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Kevin Eastman talked about how his favorite movie is Big Trouble in Little China, and this is actually based on Kurt Russell. This makes me
Kurt
wish.
Russell as in Jack Burton?
Yeah, and that was his favorite character, so he turned him into Casey Jones. So this is actually a character kind of based on Kurt Russell. To hear that was actually really cool. And they would talk about how they got around their surroundings and how much they love things. And my favorite part about the Turtle books all together is each one is with two different drawings, artists layered in Eastman, and they'll draw one, put it together, and that'll be a page. So there's two different artists drawing on one single page of that comic. That's the part that really made me like them a lot. Also, I know most of these are second printings. The first issue and the second issue are second printings. A first printing of Ninja Turtles is not cheap. Like I said, I had a third printing actually. This is actually me kind of upgraded because I got rid of the third printing just for personal reasons. And this is actually a birthday gift from Malika too here in Long Comics.
Cool.
So, like I said, it adds more to me. I actually am missing one of these because there's actually another one called Fugitoid, and it's the last of the magazine size. Then they go to comic size books.
I see.
So it's like pretty much over 2 years I managed to get all of them back. And they have like a really big story to me too, because I actually had the full run of Mirage Turtles, which is the first volume, but a family member came to my house and stole it from me. So when they took it, and I found out that I actually had a first printing number 1, then I Googled it up and saw the value on that and was, oh, wow. Just to find out all the books that they took as first printings as well. They did not get much from them because they didn't know what they had, like you were saying earlier. And this is just a way of me just taking back part of my childhood or my teenage years that were stolen from me. Yeah.
So, are you ready for the random question of the day?
What is the random question of the day?
The random question of the day, and this is something that I love to ask among all of the collectors, and that is, for someone who wants to get into collecting comic books, what kind of tip would you give them?
Baby steps, like you said earlier. Don't ever say just because it's not a first printing or it's not in best condition, it's not a book to have. It still is what it is. So this still is the first appearance of the Turtles. It still is the first issue. There still is value behind it because after the third issue, it became a comic-sized book. So the fourth printing is a different cover too, opposed to the first, second, and third printings being almost the same. Also, condition is a key, yes, to value. That's if you're trying to resell it. If you're trying to collect it, don't mind having a few low grades in there. They're spot holders for you, if anything. Then throughout the time of your collecting life, whether how long you like to be a collector for, you can always upgrade through it, get rid of the lower copies to get other issues you don't have, and use it as an advantage instead of a disadvantage of you having a grade that to others are low grade, but to you, that's just a part of your collection. It's in there, and you can also say, at least I own the book still, even if you never get a chance to get that high grade issue. And sometimes in a certain amount of years, people that own like a 2.0 Amazing Spider-Man, Amazing Fantasy 15, excuse me now, they bought it for $200, and then they look it up and they're like, whoa, it's $5,000 to get a 2 grade? I'm glad I got it back then when it was so low. Like when I met Steve Leroy and I was talking with him, he actually bought Amazing Fantasy 15 off the rack as a kid. His mom threw it away. But when he was a teenager, he went back to buy it for $5 whole. In his time, $5 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
So when I hear someone bought it for $5, and then they're like, I still have it now.
Yeah,
Bravo.
congratulations.
Like you still get your investments worth in it, and you still have what you like the most. So to me, it's nothing really bad. And usually when someone said it's not sentimental value to resell it, don't ever think about it as sentimental value being unique or valued on that. Money-wise, like personally, I use it because it has a lot of story behind it.
Well, yeah,
and Aaron here thinks it's a way of preserving history.
I think when I take the term sentimental value very seriously, it means for me personally that it is so valuable I can't even put a price on it. Don't even bother asking because I'm not willing to sell. And I do have a lot of those in my own collection. especially when it comes to the first couple of pieces of Godzilla figures that I obtained, and I gradually started off small with the easier to get stuff, but then the more I dived into it, I was able to figure out how things work, and then I started to increase my taste, so to speak.
Yes. Also, don't compare yourself to anyone else's collection.
Oh yeah,
Your collection should be your collection, not because someone else has this.
I used to be the type that would
I'm guilty of doing that. Like, I'll look at someone's collection and I'm like, wow, it's so massive. I need to be the exact same way. Then I have it, I'm like, why do I even like these characters? I don't read them, I don't do anything with them. This isn't me. It's just because it's based on someone else's collection. I would grab it. Really should focus on you having your own unique collection, not ever worrying about how big it is or how small your collection is. Size never matters. It's what you like. And as long as you're collecting something you like, no one else can come up to you and say that's not a collection, or you're not a collector.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because when I began collecting Godzilla figures, I was the kind that who would try to find one of everything as long as it was reachable. But now these days, I look back at my collection and I thought, you know what, like this was fun to hunt down when I started. Now I don't have that much attachment compared to all the other ones, so I got comfortable with selling a few bits of it away, and especially at the Maui Comic-Con. So
Oh yeah.
that was
And
great.
also, you think about it this way too. If you have a book that you want to let go of in a collection, don't think of it as a loss, because you're actually handing it to someone who likes a similar taste you do, and needs it for their collection. And if you have multiple copies, that's even a better way to look at it, because you're helping someone else complete their collection.
Oh yeah, in the case of comic books, I think it's safe to buy duplicates, because if you think about it, $5 is a lot more easier to manage than when I buy figures, because the cheapest one I could find off the shelf is at least 10.
In figures too, if it's a loose, that's where the value gets diminished or increases a lot. I know you yourself as a toy collector likes to open and review them.
Yeah.
And you maintain the packaging when you're reselling it, and you don't tell us buyer that they're sealed. You're honest and you say that they've been opened, they're packaged really nicely, and some collectors are guys that like to keep it in the box because all they care about is the value, the money wise.
Yeah, these days a lot of the high-end stuff are boxed, but back then everything was so loose anyway. So dealing
So
with
it's kind of hard back then to say there was a price, even though there is one now, because there's no box with it.
Yeah, exactly. Back then, I mean, with the ones that were made before everything started to be boxed, paint scuffs were a thing. So it was just a matter of how banged up is it, and then we appraise the value accordingly.
Then now we have sealed figures. There's people that resell them. There's people that sell them and they're dishonest about them. But you know, it's all like I said, it's an acquired taste for everyone.
Yeah.
It's all to personal preference. So don't ever compare yourself. Keep your collection to where it's what you like, not because someone else said that you should be doing this or you should be reading this. You're gonna read it because you're interested in it. Always be passionate about collecting and what you like, and just like how I have a whole collection full of memories. Build your own, because a lot of this is established memories from other people and friends I've met in the past, and what I can share with people in the future. Also, duplicates. If you do have kids in the future and you want to at least set them up with a small collection, you have duplicates. You're not really losing your old collection. You're just starting them off fresh.
Nice, great. So with that, we'll just wrap up the show right now. Big thanks to Maui Comics and Collectibles. Follow the store on Facebook and Instagram at Maui Comics. If you did enjoy this episode of Tuesday Morning Shenanigans and would love to see more into the future, leave us some good feedback. Like, subscribe, and comment in the comment section, or even leave a random question of your own inside the comment section. We do read them and we do answer them. For figure reviews and more, check out the Rave Corner. It is my favorite blogspot.com, where I review Godzilla toys, Transformers toys, and many more. Swan, anything you want to plug?
I like to plug the Hawaiian Comic Book Alliance at HawaiianComicBookAlliance.com. Look, I did it too.
Yeah.
These guys have all their work posted up there. If you want a more detailed synopsis of the stories, or if you want the spoilers that I don't want to give you, please check out their site. You spoil it for yourself, so I don't need to feel guilty.
They'll Google it and spoil it themselves.
Oh yeah. And also like to push Maui Comics and Collectibles. Other than them, NERDWatch and NERDWatch Nation on YouTube. Also Wolfhouse 808, which is Friday Night Frights, our good friends that are into horror and all kinds of other fun stuff. And what was Jaren's movie
Oh
reviews?
yeah, Jared's movie reviews
Yeah.
on Instagram. # Jared's movie reviews.
Sorry, Jaren.
Yeah.
Alright, that's all I have to plug in.
All right. So thank you for checking out this episode. Until then, take care and have a good day.